Hello, we're going to get started on another day of working on the roads in our Polar Express layout. Before we do, I'm going to show you the roadways that we laid yesterday, and you're going to note a couple things here. First, there's a number of bubble spots in that parking lot by the boarding platform. There's also some rough spots and bubbles in the pavement on the roadway itself, here and there. And as we go around, you're going to see a few ripples and other things. Some of this can get sanded out fairly easily and will be sanded out, and some of it is going to have to require some patching. Down here on the far end, you can see there are some areas where the pavement is a little bit rough, where it didn't get leveled out properly. That's going to have to be sanded and repaved in some cases, or additional paving added. There's a section that crosses the railroad tracks that we didn't get to at all yesterday, so we need to get that done. And then here we got part way through, but we didn't have quite enough material to finish up that last little stretch, so that remains to be done. And then in this section of the pavement here, we got a lot of bubble pops that showed up here, a lot of bubbles that came up and left little holes. In contrast, some of the other pavement here is fairly smooth, not nearly as rough. And here's also a section we did yesterday. As we go across, we're going to get in and out of the sunlight a little bit here, so it's going to make that difficult to see. Here we have some areas that we basically just need to sand down. We need to fill in a couple spots, patch a couple spots to get the level back up where it needs to be, and then fill in other places. This area over here is actually going to be a parking lot. This is the J. Frank IGA store, grocery store. And this area here is going to be a parking lot. We put down a temporary curb yesterday in partway across the parking lot, and I'll explain to you and show you just briefly why we did that. As we're doing these projects, one of the things that happens with the Just Pave system, it has the edging on the roadway here. This is the Just Pave tape that goes down and gives you the edge on either side. And then the pave material, the Smooth-It material, goes in the center. But the way this is supposed to work is you put this device here, this little edging smoother here, and after you lay your pavement, you kind of go along here and use the edges of the tape, the top of the tape, the top of the paving tape, as the guide to smooth out. Works great in theory. In practice, not always so good. Here, for example, you see we go along, we'd be going along like this and edging this out. But the material on the box, the instructions say you have 15 minutes to work with it. That's really optimistic. In 15 minutes, it's going to be way too stiff to actually continue working with it. Another learning from working with this material is that the instructions say that you need to turn the box upside down and shake it for 15 minutes. For 30 seconds. Shake it for 30 seconds before you pour it out and then use it immediately. Well, the reality is that 15 seconds or 30 seconds is not nearly long enough. As I was working yesterday, I was getting down towards the bottom of one box of Smooth-It and starting in on a new box of Smooth-It, and there was a remarkable difference in the color between those two boxes of material, which told me that it had not really mixed well. It had separated too much, and 30 seconds of upside down shaking isn't nearly enough to get it mixed thoroughly. What I'm going to do in the next time around, as I'm starting to get near the bottom of a box, is to pour the two boxes together and stir them up, mix them up thoroughly, and then use them, and hopefully I'll have less of that problem evident in the material. Now again, some of this is not as bad as it looks. It just needs to be a little bit more material put on top and smoothed over to fill in some of the holes. That should be fairly straightforward. And also sanding with 220 grit sandpaper. I think I probably said 200 yesterday. 220 grit sandpaper will take out a lot of the other imperfections before actually getting around to painting it. So today where I'm at is I need to finish up the paving. So I'm going to be mixing another batch of Smooth-It shortly, and I will be finishing up the paving and then allowing that to dry for 24 hours before I come back and do the sanding with 220 grit sandpaper to smooth it down finally. I need to do a little bit more of this parallel parking spaces that I've got marked out in pencil in the front of the stores. That needs to be cleaned up a little bit. You see some imperfections in various places that need to be cleaned up. So I'll get at that today, and I'll try to get that all done, and then we'll see where we're at going forward. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like and to subscribe and get notified of future video postings. As I go through here and learn things, I'll share those learnings with you. Big learning right now, shaking the box upside down, the Smooth-It box upside down for 30 seconds, as the instructions say, is not nearly enough to get the material thoroughly mixed before you actually use it. And if it's not thoroughly mixed, I think that's going to be contributing to these bubble pops that I've got here, and it's just not the same material from one pour to the next. So I'll be back with you later and share some more information. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, and please give me comments. I appreciate hearing from you. Okay, just to finish up where we are today with what we did, I used two products, Paving Tape from Woodland Scenics and Smooth-It from Woodland Scenics, to work on my roads. And the Paving Tape and Woodland Scenics Smooth-It work fairly well. There's some roughness you can see left here. That's going to all sand out with the 220 grit sandpaper when I get around to that after it's dried for 24 hours. This material that you're seeing right here is the spillover that I mentioned before that inevitably occurs when you slide the straight edge down along between the two edges on the tops of the paving tape to make the surface smooth. You're going to end up with some spilling over, and that's the case here. So we've got everything done to the point where I think what's left in the way of imperfections will sand out when I get to sanding tomorrow, and I'll end up with the parking lot along the railway done there for the IGA store. The sidewalk in front of the IGA store is done, and we're pretty much ready to go ahead and remove the paving tape from these areas. The way the paving tape works, by the way, when you lay it down, it's got the tape has a paper on one side that you peel off as you go along putting it down. Occasionally you'll hit a spot where that paper doesn't peel off properly, and you might need to clip an inch or so out and then start over again. But generally speaking, it works quite well, and you can also layer it up in multiple layers to get the proper elevation if you need more thickness. So that's where we are today, and I'm going to get this posted for you. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I appreciate any comments that you might have, suggestions and remarks. I look forward to those. Please subscribe so you get notified of future videos, and we'll continue to update as we work on the Polar Express layout. Thanks for watching. Bye.